Okay, good evening, everyone. We are going to call to regularly scheduled meeting to order. Anne Marie, could we please start with a roll call?
Councilmember Jones. Here. Councilmember Kemp. Here. Councilmember Whalen.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Orgel.
Here.
Mayor Renagi.
Here. And then we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and I guess I will be leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So please join me and put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Madam City Attorney, do we have any announcements from closed session?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The City Council convened in closed session pursuant to the items listed on the agenda. All council members were present. There was no public comment in advance of closed session. No reportable action was taken. The council did not discuss items 1A, item 2, item 3B, or item 4.
Thank you. Mr. City Manager, are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
On item 15, which will come up, we have a different document in front of you. So when you reach the consent calendar, we'll make sure that that's included.
Perfect. Okay, so at this time we have several presentations and items of extraordinary business. So we'll start with our years of service recognition. So I'll come down here. Okay, so the City of Laguna Beach is very proud to recognize and celebrate our full-time employees who have reached a milestone year of service and employment with the city during the third quarter of the 2025 calendar year. So after I call your name, please remain here at the front and we will do a group photo. So we're going to start off with the 1 year of service group. We have 2 people. Wastewater collection supervisor, Jose Gonzalez. Jose. Yeah. Okay, and then now we have an engineering technician, also 1 year of service, Clarissa Papo. Okay, so now we're gonna escalate to 5 years of service. We have our Director of Public Works and Utilities, Mark McAvoy. Okay, good. Okay, now we're at 10 years of service with the city, Police Sergeant Thomas Spratt. And then our final recipient is celebrating 20 years of service, so big round of applause here. Community Services Officer 2, Debbie Jensen. Okay, so we're gonna go do a picture. So as many of you know, we are close to celebrating our 100th year anniversary. And what's cool about being close to 100 years old is you have a lot of long-running institutions. And one of the most important ones that we have here in Laguna Beach is the Brook Street Surfing Classic, which is celebrating 70 years. So I'm gonna bring up Brandy Faber. Where's Brandy? Here we go. You can stand here with me. So Brandy has served as director of the Classic since 1993. And as I said before, this year marks the 70th anniversary of the Brook Street Surfing Classic, Laguna Beach's longest running and most iconic homegrown surf event. It began in 1955 when Hobie Alter chose Brook Street as the spot to hold a surfing contest. A true locals only event, the Classic has always been about the Laguna Beach surf community, born and raised surfers, families, and generations sharing the waves, the same waves. No corporate sponsors or flashy production, just neighbors, waves, and respect for the ocean. This event has weathered everything: the flat years, the epic swells, and the spontaneous call when the waves finally hit. So I want to thank Brandy. If you want to say anything, do you want to just come right here? Okay.
First, thank you, Mayor Yanagi.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Truly humbled to accept this proclamation on behalf of the world's oldest surf contest, the Brook Street Surfing Classic. It's an honor to be part of such a rich and amazing tradition, and I'm very grateful and appreciative to see the city and the community come together year after year to keep the Stoke alive since 1955.
Thank you.
Contest t-shirts. Thank you, Rudy.
Okay, so let's give them another round of applause. So coincidentally, we have another 70th year anniversary. So 1955 must have been the time to be in Laguna Beach because there was a lot of big things happening. So this year marks the 70th anniversary of the Laguna Open, one of the longest running beach volleyball tournaments in the world. So I'm going to bring up Patrick Canavan, who will join me up here. Patrick. All right, sir. So Patrick has been the tournament director for the last 3 years. And so again, an iconic institution since its founding in 1955, the Laguna Open has hosted some of the greatest names in beach volleyball, legends who helped shape the world we know today. Many Olympic and AVP stars have played right here on these sands. And the Laguna Open has always been more than just about volleyball. It's about community, sportsmanship, and love for the beach. And so, Patrick, do you want to say anything? Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, city council members, first of all, thank you for the support over the years. It's been said that it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it certainly takes a village to keep a tournament going for 7 years. As the director for the last 3 years of the world's longest running beach volleyball tournament, I can personally attest to the level of support, kindness, compassion that this community has shown us and all of the players who show up literally from around the world to play this tournament. So I would like to thank each and every one of you, certainly Andrea Turnauer, Alexis Braun, for all their incredible support. Could not do it without them. And to the community at large for welcoming the world's best volleyball players to our beach every year. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we'll do it. Let's bring the council down. And while the council's coming down for the photo, I just want to give a shout out to our recreation team who was just mentioned. I mean, they really truly go above and beyond. And so, the Brook Street contest, the Laguna Open would not be possible without you guys. So we appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, and then now I'm going to bring Councilmember Kempf down with me to recognize someone very special. Here, you want to start it off? So we're going to be celebrating Mary Kate Saunders. So where's Mary Kate? Do you want to come up here? We're here to celebrate her incredible career and lasting impact. Sue, go ahead.
Come on up here. After more than 40 years of dedication, leadership, and heart, Mary Kate is retiring, leaving behind a legacy that will be felt for years to come. It's not just the end of a chapter, it's a celebration of everything she's built and everyone she's helped and inspired along the way. So we have a proclamation. So you don't come to council meetings very often, but we do these quite often. So I'm going to read all the wonderful things about you. For more than 40 years, Mary Kate Saunders has shared her extraordinary talent, compassion, and dedication as a physical therapist, helping generations of Laguna Beach residents heal, regain strength, and live fuller lives. Mary Kate opened her own practice in Laguna, Mary Kate Saunders Physical Therapy, in 2002 at the corner of Glenary and Cress. Over the past 23 years, her practice has become a beloved fixture in our community. I can attest to that because I was in there numerous times. Known for its warm atmosphere, individualized care, and Mary Kate's unwavering belief that every patient deserves the time, attention, and expertise of a licensed therapist. Mary Kate's joy in her work has always been evident. Her passion has inspired not only those she's helped to heal, but those who've had the privilege to work beside her. And I'm going to have you read the last part here.
Okay. I, Alex Vernaghi, as mayor of the city of Laguna Beach, am proud to recognize Mary Kate Saunders and congratulate her on a remarkable career, wishing you endless joy, good health, and new adventures in your well-earned retirement. Because we know that you've created good health and well-earned adventures for so many other people. So we are grateful for you. Do you want to say anything?
I just want to thank my staff that I've had for many, many years. Mimi and Cindy and Lisa and Ann is actually here, who was one of my first office managers. Anyway, it's been a pleasure to serve this community. I thank my husband, Kirk Saunders, for bailing us out financially many more times than he should have had to. Anyway, so thanks to all of you. I appreciate it. Oh. Lisa.
That's it, right? Next on our agenda, before we take our typical public comments, we have interviews and appointments to the Investment Advisory Committee. And so we're going to interview 12 applicants and appoint 3 residents to the Investment Advisory Committee for a 20-month term effective through 2027. And so I think, Anne Marie, what we'll do is let's open public comment, and then you can just call up each of the individuals, and they'll each have 3 minutes to speak, and then any members of the public can also comment on this agenda item. So Anne Marie, if you want to kick us off, and if council members have questions, they're welcome to ask the individuals.
Steve Brown.
Hello, welcome everyone. Glad to be up here to have a moment with all of you. Thank you all for your service and really appreciate what you do for the city. And thank you for your consideration in this newly constituted role in the investment committee, the possibility of that. Last year, just as a quick background, I was appointed to serve for the first time on the combined audit and investment committee. Very early in that service for a variety of reasons. Most of the focus and work of the combined committee was on the audit elements. Given my background, I was happy to jump in and contribute, and now those matters have been put to bed, which is great. As part of an evolving process, early this year, the audit portion of that committee was absorbed into the council, leaving a standalone investment committee as the remaining one. So I'm here tonight to say I am ready, willing, able, and excited to finish out my term through this one, if you give me that opportunity, with a renewed focus on the standalone investment committee. As you likely saw in the submitted materials, I have decades of experience in the financial services industry in that area that could be applied and help the city in this role. I served as a bank president, managing director of a top investment brokerage firm, and have deep experience including managing sophisticated billion-dollar bank investment portfolios. I've also trained hundreds of bank managers and executives about investing, written investment policies for bank management teams, and have extensive experience in such areas as risk management, hedging, debt issuance, loan structuring, and many other areas related to investing. Thanks for your consideration. I'm happy to take any questions or answer whatever anyone may wish.
Any questions? No, well, thank you.
Thank you all.
Michael Burdick. Michael.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, my name's Michael Burdick. I've been a resident of Laguna Beach for more than 30 years. My wife and I raised our children here, so Laguna Beach is very much home for us. Professionally, I've spent my career as an executive and CEO of several public companies until retiring as a full-time executive in early 2020. Across those roles, I served on retirement plan investment committees and participated in numerous capital markets transactions totaling nearly $2.5 billion. So I know the capital markets very well. I currently serve on the boards of Five9, DocGo, and IntelliShift, and previously I served on the board of CalAmp and Motion Acquisition. At each of the public companies where I serve on the audit committee, and I serve on 2 audit committees and I'm chair of one, we are responsible for establishing companies' investment policies and monitoring investment performance and compliance. So very, very consistent with the mandate of this new committee. I see this advisory role as a way to give back to this community. It's been so good to me and my family, and I look forward to the opportunity to serve. And so I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Michael. Any questions?
No.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Okay.
Kim Chibaton. There we go.
It's easy. Hi, everyone. Thank you for hearing me out. It's a pleasure to be here today. I'm thrilled to be considered for the position on the investment committee. My day job is an attorney. I'm an attorney by trade. I've been licensed in California for 16 years, and I was started out at a law firm, and then 10 years ago went in-house with Irvine Company. I'm used to partnering with the business to both achieve financial objectives and also maintain legal compliance. After Irvine Company, I left and went to Healthpeak, which is a real estate investment trust that operates out of Irvine. And I am now at a company called Tricon Residential. My primary experience is real estate, but there's a lot of investments that go along with that. And obviously, real property isn't going anywhere. I think my business acumen and my legal expertise would make me a great fit for this role. I am also a proud Laguna Beach resident, and I love Laguna Beach because of its natural beauty, its heritage, its rich art and cultural heritage, and also because it's a community above all others. So I really enjoy being a member of this community, and thank you for your consideration. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you for your application. Any questions?
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Robert Klugman.
Hi there. Thank you all. I didn't really prepare anything. I didn't think I was going to be here today. I'm the tennis coach at Laguna Beach High School. but we had a rain out today. So one of the rare rain out. So I'll just speak off the cuff. I've been a Laguna Beach resident for 5 years. Right after my retirement, I came from New York, and always looking for ways to give back to the community. Being the tennis coach is one. I applied for the recreation committee. I think that was altered a little bit. Before being the tennis coach, I had I think about 25-year career in investment banking and consulting to financial institutions. I have an MBA in finance and accounting from Wharton, have led several investment projects, was in charge of a $5 billion hedge fund portfolio at Credit Suisse, which was my last job at a big brokerage firm. It seems like everyone here is very, very qualified, so I'm not sure what I have over them other than just a shared desire to serve. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
David Levine was not going to be able to be here, and I don't think he made it. He did provide a statement, so hopefully you had an opportunity
Yes.
to read that. Next is Joseph Moth. Is that how you say it, Joseph? He is also not here. So Gregory Meck also provided a statement for you, and as did Rael Mearson, just making sure neither of those are there. Steve Neary.
I've been a fixed income broker in public finance for the last 25 years, helping cities and counties transact through treasury bonds and federal agency bonds, which is all they can purchase according to the investment policy. We are the brokerage firm that the city's financial advisor goes to effectuate transactions. We work with the current financial advisor and would discontinue that relationship if I was selected to the committee to avoid any conflicts of interest. So I work with city, as I said, all public finance accounts. I don't have any corporate accounts. All treasurers, finance directors, CFOs across the country, helping them structure cash flows, structuring portfolios. The financial advisor might pitch the idea of being the best, asset manager in terms of total return, but the city doesn't get a bonus for earning an extra, half of a percentage point or 2 or 3 full percent over an index. Your jobs are just to, maintain liquidity in the portfolio, safety, and return of principal, safety, liquidity, and yield in the portfolio. So I'm happy to help. I've been in Laguna Beach for about 20 years in north part of town, and I'm available for any questions. Or this is what I've been doing for the last 25 years, is transacting for cities and counties. So however I can help. Thank you.
Thank you.
Matthew Rogers. Is Matthew Rogers here? Nope. Melissa Raugali? Melissa? Is Melissa here? Nope. Sasha?
It's me.
That would be you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. First, I'd like to echo, we have some really great neighbors in this town. Every time I come here and see who speaks and hear from them, I'm more and more honored to be here. Good evening, Mayor Runagi and members of City Council and fellow residents of Laguna Beach. And thank you to everyone who survived today's extreme weather event. Just a little background. Most of you know me already, but just a little background for those who don't. I've lived in Laguna Beach for 4 years now, and I studied physics and math, but I spent my career in investment management, overseeing portfolios, multi-asset, multi-currency portfolios on behalf of institutions and family offices. And I've enjoyed serving the city as a member of the previous incarnation of this committee, where my colleagues and I provided input on matters such as investment policy statements, audit best practices, and professional asset management and reporting. And I got involved because, like many of you, I believe it's critical for the public to have transparency from their elected officials. and to have accountability from same on the decisions and the actions that they make on our behalf. So now being familiar with the city's investment portfolio and our holdings, I'm keen to continue the important work of this committee and to help council, the treasurer's office, and the city manager's team to make the best decisions in the pursuit of our three goals: safety, liquidity, and yield. So I appreciate the opportunity, and I would be honored to continue serving, and thank you for your consideration. And if I may, I'd like to take a moment to encourage anybody who's ever been curious about attending these meetings to go and check it out, because there's not a lot of razzle dazzle, and you'll probably have to bring your own snacks, but it's sure takes the mystery out of what does and does not take place behind the closed doors during the operation of a vibrant and dynamic city such as ours. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Mayor, this time, since it's just one committee, I decided to go old school with paper. So I'll pass out a sheet to each of you with everyone's name. If you will mark which 3 candidates you would like to see on the committee.
And so this is just a 3-person committee?
Correct. The council made this a 3-person committee.
These are the only 3 people who are on the committee? Who we appoint are the only 3. It's not like there's 2.
Correct. They will be the only 3 that will be on the committee, or the 3 that you select. Right now, there is nobody because
Because they're finishing up their time.
their
on the-
term ended
Yes.
in June. So you have nobody on the committee right now.
Does anyone recall why do we make this a 3-person committee as opposed to like a 5-person committee? Was there a reason for that?
Well, remember we had 5 because we had audit. Well, we don't have audit anymore, so we just said 3. We just picked 3. It's plenty. Plus we have meter, we
Yeah.
have Laura, so we have plenty of, and Bob and I are the subcommittee.
I would support going to 5 if there was support for that, because I think there's a lot of qualified candidates. And it just seems like a 3-person committee that's very small. But I don't.
Fine with me. I don't have a problem with that. I mean,
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it.
Okay, so I
5?
would, do we have to make them, Megan, do we have to? Is there an issue with that?
Well, I think you go ahead and make your appointments. We'll need to modify our prior action. We can't do that tonight because for a 3-person committee, but so I think you can be clear about who the 5 would be, and then
Put that back on consent.
we'll have to make the committee a 5-person committee. Well, we can't take that action tonight, so we'll have
Okay.
to come back on the 28th.
We
for
can
that.
vote for 5 people
can
and
vote
then
for 5
if there's, well, let's see if there's support. I just want to confirm that there's support for 5 people.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay. Okay.
All right,
So
then
let's
in
do
that
that.
case, vote for 5.
One of the hardest roles that we have is whenever we do these committee applications, because there's so many talented people in our town. So I was trying to make our job a little bit easier. Okay. So to confirm, Madam City Attorney, so Anne Marie will read the names of the 5 people, but then we're not going to take formal action. What you'll do is bring back on the consent calendar, who those 5 people are and reconstitute it as a 5-member committee.
Correct. So we'll take final action at the next meeting, and Anne Marie, and she'll actually read all the votes because.
Yeah, so she'll read all the votes. We're not going to take action after that.
Correct.
Got it. Please go ahead, Madam City Clerk, whenever you are ready.
Okay. So getting 5 votes are Steve Brown and Sasha Talibe. So congratulations, you two are definitely on the committee. And then garnering 4 votes is Greg Meck and Kim Chaubatoni. That's actually not that hard once you say it. And then 3 votes is Michael Burdick. So good job, council. You actually did get your 5. I'm going to read the actual votes now. Councilmember Hallie Jones voted for Steve Brown, Kim, Greg, Steve Neri, and Sasha. Councilmember Sue Kemp voted for Steve Brown, Michael, Kim, Greg, and Sasha. Councilmember Bob Whalen voted for Steve Brown, Michael, Greg, Steve Neri, and Sasha. And then Mayor Pro Tem Mark Origel, Steve Brown, Michael, Kim, Robert, and Sasha. And then Mayor Alex Renagi, Steve Brown, Kim, David, Greg, and Sasha.
Okay, well, congrats to everyone who was selected, and that'll come back to us on the consent calendar. And thank you to everyone who applied. And as I said before, the hardest decision that we make up here is probably who we appoint to these boards and commissions, because we have such a talented group of people in Laguna Beach. So please keep applying to get involved with our community. So we appreciate that. So we're not going to take action on that item because that'll come back on consent. But what we will do now is take regular public comment on items that are not on the agenda, but within the subject matter jurisdiction of the Laguna Beach City Council. So speakers will have 3 minutes to provide their testimony. So please line up.
Ed Almanza with Laguna Ocean Foundation. I just want to let you know that we had an event last month at the Rivian. It was a great success. It was a lot of fun. And I want to thank Mayor Pro Tem Orgel for attending and speaking briefly about our mission and its alignment with the city's priorities. We had a great speaker. His name is Brendan Talwar. He spoke about sharks, and you can catch his series on Netflix. This is the beginning of a quarterly series that we're going to launch with the Rivian, so stay tuned for the next in that series. I'd also like to share with you that we are writing a proposal to the Ocean Protection Council to enlist state funds to implement one of the city's key policies related to visitor management and stewardship. This is the policy that calls for a coastal resources protection program. And if we're funded for that project, we will be bringing a team of scientists to create that coastal resources protection plan. And we hope to partner with the city and with the Coastal Commission to complete that. So please stay tuned for that. We hope to have news soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, Council. Laura Parisi, City Treasurer. What a great group of people you had to pick from on that investment committee. I think you made wonderful choices, and there's such talent in this town. But tonight, I'm here to ask you to consider to have a paid person to assist me as Deputy Treasurer to fill my role in the event I can't perform my duties. A deputy treasurer for an elected treasurer, it's somebody who I would need to appoint to that role. I would love to train someone in the job that I do. This is my first meeting after an extended medical leave, and my deputy was not paid to cover my office. I was out for 6 weeks. It's frustrating to not have the ability to do my job. I can tell you that the day after I was released from the hospital, I came to the office, met with Dave Kiff. I was 70% capacity, but I had to do reports that were due to the state. They're on tonight's agenda, and I am pleased to report that I am now fully caught up reporting-wise. And all the statutory reports are done. There are still some things that I need to do, and I have a tentative agreement to have my deputy come in for a few hours and help me catch up after my medical leave. there are a lot of reasons to have a person to fill my role. In the event that I'm not here, I think the citizens would want to have a resident. And I can do the training that's required for an elected treasurer. Thank you very much for considering my request.
Thank you, and we're grateful that you are doing better and appreciate your willingness to come the day after you get out of the hospital. That's a testament to your dedication. So thank you, Laura. Okay, next speaker, please.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Council. Brittany Ganson with the Beverly Hills, with the Laguna Beach Chamber of Commerce. Still new. I wanted to thank everyone, those that were able to come out to Taste of Laguna. We had a very successful and profitable event and really excited about that. And also to remind that we have Small Business Saturday coming up on the 29th of November. And a new change this year, passports will be eligible for the entire month, November 1st to the 30th, as opposed to just Saturday. So again, we encourage everyone to shop local, get involved, and get your passports. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Next speaker, please.
Hi, Michelle Monda. I want to congratulate you on making the committee 5 people. With the incredible richness of candidates, I was astounded that it would only be 3 and had no idea how to get it down to 3. So congratulations on the 5. You probably know I don't come down much anymore. It takes a really big issue for me to come down. It was what happened at the September 23rd meeting when you all went after George. The attorney interrupted 2 times erroneously. Sue said it was bogus. It wasn't. And Alex said you lacked information. Well, you guys didn't do your information, because when we talked to, or when it came out that the actual deputy fire chief was consulted, all of what George had said was true. So I actually am very appalled that there was all those interruptions on his time. I am here to ask for an independent investigation. I sent you all letters, but I want the public to know, because this needs to be exposed. We need to have a transparent city council. You have gotten away with too much for way too long, and this is just absolutely endemic of what's going on behind closed doors here. Here's why we need to have this independent investigation. After 3 outstanding reviews, this employee, 2 weeks before her probationary period was terminated, was considered a not good fit. This is after 3 outstanding evaluations, which has really never been done before. We get to pay for the severance. Well, that's interesting, because usually for probationary employee, you don't pay for severance. Not only did the fire department, but the police department complained about this situation. That wasn't investigated. There are discrepancies in paid time and actual time worked by this employee. Did you investigate this? The deputy fire chief made a formal complaint to HR. And instead of having HR there, the chief shows up. That is actually against that's a violation of the code of HR that protects the complainant. Was that investigated? HR seemed to be helping in the cover-up. I want to quote the former deputy fire chief. This is a quote from her letter that I know you all got. Contrary to the city manager's claim Tuesday night, September 23rd, that an appropriate level of review was conducted, no meaningful investigation ever occurred. I am asking for a formal investigation because the residents of Laguna deserve transparency and honesty in our city council. And the way it stands right now, I don't see anything like that in this affair. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good evening, Mayor Runagi and all of our council members. Thank you for this meeting. It's been so uplifting to see all the beauty going on in our town. Thank you. My name is Michelle Heiberg. I'm a 35-year resident, and I just want to say thank you this evening to everyone who participated in Love Laguna Beach. Many of you were there. Thank you. I also want to say thank you to our fire department for helping us out at our Top of the World Neighborhood Association picnic. We were so impressed with their presentation. We're working to make Top of the World a fire-wise community. And thank you, City Manager Kiff. You're going to be with us for Top of the World Neighborhood Association on November 12th for our annual Meet the City Manager. So thank you, everyone, for participating in these community events. I am also here as the co-founder of Just Gather, and I want to invite all of you and our entire community to join us as we continue. This is our third monthly Device to Harmony event, and we always start out with self-care for 45 minutes, and then we have a speaker, usually from another nonprofit, and then we just have camaraderie, and we provide snacks and live music. So all of you are invited. The flyer is up there. We're super excited to have Shadi Porkashep as our speaker. She's going to be speaking to parents so we could prevent bullying. She's, she represents our city for the World Kindness Day, and she has her event coming up, so we're so honored to have her there. We're also really happy that we're able to do this event at the fantastic Straw Bale House, 100% eco-build with no waste. And Chris Spitaleri is going to be leading our succulent planting, which is going to be our self-care activity. I want to thank everyone also who joined us in Heisler Park last month, and we look forward to continue doing these Device to Harmony events where people come before phones. And one day we're going to have no screen areas, I know, because I'm here to help everyone increase their brain potentials and live happily ever after in this place we call home. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Jerome Pudwill, 38-year resident. Just came to support everything that Michelle Monda has said. It was an unreal accusation that was made, and nothing being done about it is embarrassing. Your duty is to represent the residents and to maintain a good policy for governance in this town. That's lacking on this particular incident. Testimony has been given by the 23-year former employee of the city to all charges, and yet nothing is being done. Severance package given to an employee with purportedly an overly friendly relationship with a key member of the fire department, purportedly funds being given to her beyond the hourly rate that she was assigned to perform. Again, nothing being done. This is wrong. This is just, I hate to use the word, but it's just morally wrong. Please do your duty. Investigate this, get the facts straight. There was a demoralization of the fire department because of this incident. This is a key function of the city. We want good employees who are happy in their jobs. And we're not getting that in this particular case. Again, please do your duty.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Okay.
Good evening, City Council. Greg Viviani here, 41-year resident. I just want to say what a great job Reza Jafari and his team of Public Works employees have been doing by managing the Aliso Creek sand berm and the Aliso Creek mouth. This storm with heavy rain really shows the example of how their work helps. You can see the sandbanks on either side of the creek preventing that massive flow of water from cutting down the beach to the north or the south. By preventing the northern and southern flow and also breaching the sand berm when necessary. This breaching helps to prevent flooding and also mosquitoes from breeding in the stagnant water that accumulates when the large sand berm is present. Maintaining a straight flow from the bridge can also be a very difficult task, but their persistent work and utilizing the new bulldozer to build up the northern and southern sand banks is really beneficial, and it shows they've been really on it. And I can confirm that this is really helping keep the properties that are directly affected by this safe, and also the homeowners' stress levels down. I've been speaking with them a lot, and also thank you to Kai Bond and his team of amazing lifeguards working hard to help manage this creek mouth whenever it should drain either by itself, this just mainly happens by itself, or the city has to breach it, or if the wave riding community should breach it. Whenever this creek mouth should drain, it usually lasts from 30 minutes to an hour when flowing straight from the bridge. Breaking of the sand berm, I think you all are aware of the positive impact that it has that I've shown by protecting property life, preventing flooding of the pedestrian tunnel, preventing mosquitoes from breeding and stagnant water, and also breaching of the sand berm does prevent more bacteria from growing and ultimately flowing into the ocean regardless, causing a worse shock to the ocean and sea life. So a more frequent flow, which has been happening, keeps that level, that bacteria level at a constant versus it sitting behind the sand berm, getting more and more and more, festering with more, stagnant water and then breaching into the environment. Then it causes a more shock to the sea life. So and there's been testing done. We've been documenting it daily with videos to show this. But basically that creek mouth, it needs to drain. They've been doing a great job. And I just want to say thank you. So thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Okay, are there any other speakers who would like to speak on a non-agenda item? Now is your last chance. And seeing none, I'm going to close public comment and we are going to bring this back to council and staff. So let's start with our city manager.
Mr. Mayor and council members, I don't have any comments today.
Madam City Attorney.
No comments, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Jones.
Just a quick report on some of the things that have been happening the last couple of weeks. We had a meeting of the Orange County Parks Commission as well as a separate meeting of the Trails Subcommittee. We had an open space and conservation element ad hoc committee meeting as well as a Laguna Canyon Road ad hoc committee meeting. And I met privately with Joanna Bear, Sasha Talebi, Carrie Reynolds, and David Browning.
Thank you. Councilmember Kempf.
Yeah, just one thing tonight. So on the 24th, which is a week from Friday, we're going to have from 11 to 1 at the Women's Club, we're going to have a remembrance ceremony for Elizabeth Pearson, who served 3 terms on the council and also was mayor 3 times, was a very popular and well-known person in our community who unfortunately passed away way too soon. So we'll be having hopefully a fun remembrance as was her request that we have a fun remembrance for her. So we're going to do our very best to do that. So everyone's welcome. I mean, I don't know how many people we can fit in the Women's Club, but we're going to try our best. So anyway, if you can make it, it'd be great.
Thank you. And we'll be adjourning in her memory tonight. So thank you for that, Councilmember Kempf. Councilmember Whalen.
Nothing tonight.
Councilmember Orgel.
Yeah, I'll just run.
Or Mayor Pro Tem, I apologize.
Forgiven. An update on my meetings. I met with David Cook regarding the art space and artist housing. Mark Christie, same, artist housing. I had an interview at the community clinic, meeting with Susan Whiten in SWA. We did a promenade walkthrough with all the engineers and the whole team. Catherine Yurka, open space ad hoc, revenue enhancement meeting, Blue Belt board meeting, Steve from LCAD. We had I met with Dee Perry, Festival of the Arts board meeting on behalf of our mayor, Alex Renagi, Coastal Greenbelt Authority. I attended No Square Theater, and by the way, they have a fundraising event on Sunday. So if anybody hasn't seen it, I don't know, it's probably too late to get tickets, but anybody can certainly contribute if they would like. We went to the radio station fundraiser at the Rivian. That was an amazing event. Taste of Laguna was amazing. The La Papa event was great. Crystal Cove event was wonderful. Very inspiring group of speakers at that particular event. The Water District on Saturday had their 100-year anniversary over there at the district. It was a great event, very well attended. And the event, as Ed mentioned at the Laguna Ocean Foundation at the Rivian, was great. And that's it.
Thank you. So during this 3-week period, I attended the League of California Cities at their annual conference, and I was there with some of our city staff members. And there were interesting panel discussions, including one on from the perspective of the city of Malibu on their issues with recovering from fire and preparing for fire, one of the key takeaways was about the need for resiliency in terms of power in the form of batteries. So I thought that was interesting. There was another panel on the toxicity of city council meetings and, you know, how to deal with an increasingly, you know, negative political climate. And the most valuable part for me of these events is just to speak to other elected officials across the state of California. I always learn so much from what they are doing and, you know, do my best to bring that back. I also attended with our assistant city attorney, Patrick Donegan, an event in Redondo Beach, hosted by our Neighborhood Voices along with the Coastal Commission. And so that was a very cool experience just to learn about the role of the Coastal Commission and to speak with many of the commissioners about their work. And I also had a chance to speak to the executive director, Dr. Kate Huckelbridge, about, you know, the relationship we've had. And she commented on the fact that our trolley program is something that she tells people about all the time. And she appreciated the proactive engagement that we've had on many different issues. Because as you all know, 90% of our cities within the coastal zone. So that relationship is very important. And then I joined our public works team, and I want to thank Mark and Reza for setting this up to go street sweeping at 6 a.m. last week. And so that was a cool experience just to see that take place. One of the cool things that our street sweepers do is there's certain residents where, you know, they'll be almost collaborating together where they'll put pines in a certain area knowing that the street sweeper is going to come. And so it's funny because they know exactly what's going to happen in the morning, who's going to be at their window, you know, when the street sweeper comes by. So I just appreciate the work of our street sweeping team, as well as just, I did some stretches with our landscaping team. And so it was cool to see all, you know, in the early morning, the people who keep our city running. I also did a tour of the animal shelter with our city clerk, police chief, and city manager. And then finally, I just want to echo the comments by Councilmember Kempf about the loss of a true legend, our community, Elizabeth Pearson, who was a friend and a mentor to many of us up here. I think that she's an effective public servant and that her legacy will live on, not only in those who she inspired, but also in the fact that the Susie Q Community Center probably would not happen were it not for her leadership. So you know, the fact that she's no longer with us, but her impact will continue for all the seniors who benefit from that. That's powerful. And so we will be adjourning our meeting in her memory. And so with that, I think we are going to consider the consent calendar. So if any council members want to pull items, now is your time to do so, and then we'll go to the public.
8, 9, and I guess we need to pull 15 for the revised ordinance. Is that right?
8, 9, and 15. So you're pulling it because we have to procedurally.
Do we or don't
You
we?
want to?
We can just note for the record that the ordinance was updated. It's online, it's on the dais, those recommended changes, and that we also had 2 additional recommended changes, which was to change the term hotel to subject property. And section 7 and 8 got misnumbered. So the end of the ordinance should be section 6, 7, and 8. So that's the updated recommended action. So you can take it or you can leave it on.
Okay, so you're going to rescind pulling it?
I don't need to pull it if we don't need to pull it.
Okay. Are there members of the public who would like to pull an item on the consent calendar? Yeah. 9, that's already pulled. Any other members of the public who want to pull anything from the consent calendar? No, I don't see any. Okay, now's your last chance. So what we will do is, and before we vote on approving the balance of the consent calendar, I am going to note
Mr. Mayor, sorry, I was discussing item 14, which is where those changes are. Item 15 is the purchasing ordinance. So I'm sorry, Councilmember Whalen, if.
No, I meant 14.
Okay.
We're on the same page.
Look at that.
I'm on the same wrong wavelength.
And so I am going to note I don't have a legal conflict of interest, but I'm going to note for the record that I will not be voting. Is that the right way to say it, Megan? On item 14 due to my previous employment at related to California, which is one of the applications. So I will not be voting on that, even though my 1-year period has ended. I'm just making a practice of not voting on anything related to related.
Correct.
So, Megan, is there anything that I can say?
Just recusing yourself from item number 13 based on a prior conflict. And then Mayor Pro Tem, you were also going to recuse yourself from item 14. Is that
Correct.
correct?
Correct.
Also not a conflict, but out of an abundance of caution and an appearance of impropriety just related to an existing conflict. He's also not going to participate on that item.
Okay, so then what I would do is make a motion that we approve items 1 through 7, 10, and then I guess 10 through 18, right? With the noted conflicts for recusal for me with respect to item 13 and Mayor Pro Tem with respect to item 14. Is that sufficient, Madam City Attorney? And then with the changes as outlined, do you need to outline those changes again?
No, just if we could reference the recommended action that we previously discussed was updated for item 14.
Okay. I will amend my motion to include that. So that is there a second?
Second.
Okay, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so that passes 5-0 with the noted recusals on those 2 specific items. So now we are so it looks like Councilmember Whalen, you pulled item 8, City Council 2026 meeting schedule.
Yeah, I just had one comment on this, which I shared with the city manager yesterday, and I think he thinks it's a good idea, which is if you look at our August and September dates, we go from August 4 to September 22nd, which is even a bigger gap period than we had this year. And the first meeting back, lots of stuff stacks up. So I was going to recommend to see if council would support scheduling the second meeting of August, but with an eye to canceling it if the city manager doesn't think there's enough there. Otherwise, we're gone for 48 days, and that seems to me to be a long time. And what happened this year was a special meeting got called that I couldn't attend because something had to happen in the gap period, right? So I'd rather have something scheduled and canceled,
Okay.
Rather than, we have to have a meeting. And we're going to proceed with it anyway, so.
Let me ask you a question though, because how far in advance, if we didn't have, let's say we had, I don't know, what's the schedule, 4, so let's say we had 4 and 18 in August or something like that, Bob? The fourth
Yeah,
meeting.
just the regular second
So
meeting.
what, how much in advance if we didn't have enough to talk? August is kind of a good month for us to be gone because a lot of other people are gone. in the community.
Agenda-wise, we'd know about 10 days in advance, so we'd know by the 8th. I mean, and I'd certainly err on the side of getting the information out earlier.
Okay.
Okay. So could we just have a special, could we maybe include, when Beckett sends out the calendar invites, why don't we include that as a potential special meeting? Does that achieve the goal that you're talking about, Bob, without?
May I make a
Go ahead.
suggestion? It's possible that there's a context here that I don't understand, but as a parent of school-age children, my kids are off school in August, they're back in September. So would it be possible to have 2 meetings in the month of September and not a second meeting in the month of August? Is there a reason that we would prefer the longer break in the month of September?
Because I would prefer to just have the special meetings if we need it and then give a really advanced notice or make sure that, everyone can be here for it. Because also just from, I don't know, I could see both arguments either way.
Yeah, I don't care, but what I like about that break is it gives us time, if we have to go somewhere, we can get
Yeah,
away. 'Cause
right.
we can't get away.
It's a-
The other thing is it gives us time to do our council work
And
without
same-
interruptions from.
Same for
meetings.
city staff as well.
Yeah, and
On the
staff
day to
too.
day.
Well, I would just say if we're not going to schedule a date, then I would ask that we don't schedule a meeting on 24 to 36-hour notice or whatever.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
And we don't do it without
Yeah.
trying to achieve a date where all of us can be there.
I think that's a good
guess
idea.
what I'd say.
That's a good fair compromise.
So it'd be like a minute order saying that they approve the calendar with the expectation if there's any additional meetings, especially in that August and September break, that there be at least a 10 days notice.
Yeah, I'm not insisting on a fixed period
Okay.
of notice, just that an effort be made, right, to give
Okay.
a few days' notice and more
Try
importantly,
to work
pick a
on the,
date where
exactly.
everybody can
Works
make
for
it.
everyone.
Work on a day that can work for everybody. Yeah.
I think that's
I
fair.
appreciate that.
Okay,
Thank
so,
you.
so it sounds like we have kind of informal direction that we all agree on, that we want to give advance notice, but then approve the calendar as is.
Well, advance notice and a coordination to try to make
Yeah.
sure we pick a date when everybody can make it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So let's open public comment on this item. Does anyone want to speak on the city council
Oh, after Memorial Day. Sorry.
2026 calendar?
We're looking at one more thing here before we go. Yeah, we do have a meeting the day after Memorial Day. And I don't know if that's been a problem in the past.
So this
Those
year,
historians, is this year unique?
did to the first and third Tuesdays to avoid having a meeting the day after Memorial Day. So I didn't know if you wanted to repeat what you did this year or if you want to leave the calendar as you have in the past.
Wouldn't that be better for staff too? If we move the dates, as Megan suggested, Dave?
The only catch would be you'd have 2 consecutive meetings on 2 Tuesdays. So you'd have the April 28th and then the May 5th.
That's fine.
Okay.
I'm good with either.
What are the staff impacts of having a council meeting the day after Memorial Day? I think we as a council are okay with it, but what are the staff impacts?
Yeah. I lose my briefing time with you. I know that's scintillating time, of course. But we'd have the staff reports ready anyway, the Thursday before. I'm okay with it. Like
Is there
staff
like
gonna hate me.
Is there like a week vacation? It's not like spring break or anything. That's way after spring break, right? So I don't have, I think we keep it as is.
Okay.
And then we just need advanced staff reports so that we can have the briefings.
Okay.
Okay, good. So let's open public comment on this item. I don't see any. Let's close public comment, bring it back to the council. Does somebody want to make a motion?
Move
Yeah.
the recommended action.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then I think, Bob, you also pulled item 9, the modifications to cultural arts program application requirements. So would you like a staff report on that?
Yeah, it just seemed to me like it was asking for discussion on our part. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I would like a quick.
Okay, let's have a staff report. We have Patrick Donigan from the Assistant City Attorney.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor and Councilmember Whalen. So the topic for discussion before you is rather straightforward. Our Cultural Arts Department promulgates various programs, grants, and competitions and administers them. Each one of those ones has different criteria. A constant in all of them is that city employees or those, including those compensated for city council, board, or commission positions are not eligible to apply. Thus, even those city employees or officials that kind of have nothing to do with the Cultural Arts Department or the ad issue program, grant, or competition are prohibited from even submitting an application. My review of the city documents to try to figure out where that came from did not produce much in the way of substantive discussion, either from the Arts Commission or, of course, the city council. It was probably inserted by a staff member just to avoid even the appearance of impropriety. However, removing it from a staff level, we decided it was not ideal. We wanted to make sure that the city council was fully aware of the existing prohibition, and then you guys could opine on whether or not that's still a wise policy. For what it's worth, the Political Reform Act would still apply, such that no one who is involved in the actual decision-making process would be able to give themselves a leg up or vote to provide themselves a grant. So all of the standard Political Reform Act prohibitions would still apply, such that if you have a financial interest, you are not allowed to vote or participate in the program. That concludes my report, Mr. Mayor, and I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, let's open up public comment on this item.
I put my smart glasses on. Mr. Mayor, council members, thank you for your time. Since being appointed to the Planning Commission in 2018, I've been deemed ineligible to apply for any art programs under the purview of the Arts Commission. We are all very aware of conflicts of interest, the Brown Act violations, and those things would always be taken into consideration when an artist applies for a city-run art project or competition. We are an art colony and a place where all artists are welcome and supported. To be excluded as an artist because one chooses to serve the community on one of the various committees or commissions acts as a disservice to all our creatives. This policy seems to be random and one that through the work of city staff, Patrick, has been found to have no foundation or historic significance. It's not easy being an artist here in the art colony. To be excluded from city-run art competitions and programs seems divergent from the concept of inclusion for all artists trying to keep a foothold here. I hope you will direct city's staff to eliminate this rather draconian policy so that all artists would be afforded the opportunity to apply for city-run art projects and competitions. Thank you for your time and service to the community, and I want to give a little shout out to the PD for sending their snake control person to the property last night to handle a rather large rattlesnake behind our trash cans. So thanks for that.
Good job, Chief.
Thank you. Are there any other speakers on this item? Okay, so let's bring this back to the city council.
Mr. Mayor, if I may just add one last factor.
Yeah, so we'll go
I,
back
of
to
course,
staff.
did not want to, by any means, throw staff under the bus. By way of brief background, at one point, these applications did go before, at least some of them did go before the Arts Commission. It did have that prohibition. However, in reviewing that meeting, there wasn't substantive policy discussion on it. There wasn't a back and forth about whether that's wise policy. So this wasn't just a complete sua sponte by city staff just to insert that. It was brought before the Arts Commission. However, there wasn't that substantive discussion, thus necessitating the item before you tonight. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, I see Sean Poschel back there. She's a Cultural Arts Manager. Did you want to weigh in on this at all, Sean, or are you okay? Okay, thanks. I just want to make sure.
So,
Well, it seems there's no legal prohibition. I guess somewhere in here it talks about whether, there's an appearance of an issue. I mean, I just thought we should have a conversation about it rather than just rubber stamping it on consent, right? To affirmatively state that we're okay with it. I think from my perspective, there's rules that are going to have to be followed, and it's a little more awkward, I think, although I'm not inclined to say we should do this, but I think it's a little more awkward if it's a member of the Cultural Arts Commission that's applying for a grant, because you sit with those people all the
Absolutely.
time, and that seems a little close. But if you're on the EDPC or the Planning Commission or one of these unrelated commissions, I don't think you should be precluded from applying. But I do have a little hesitation about that. I know there are artists on that commission, obviously, but I thought, so I'll just throw that out for food for thought.
is the specific FPPC regulation, so, hypothetically, if somebody, is it about making a direct decision on that, but so like, for example, we appoint the arts commissioners, it would be, but we might not be actually certifying, the awarding of a specific grant program, but we could, we give the budget for it, all that, and so I have no problem not being a participant in future art competitions, just for the record. So it makes sense that we wouldn't be able to do this, but where do you draw that line in terms of it, whether it's related to a specific arts commission decision? That's where the person could be going for a grant. That's clearly not an issue, but what about influence on the work of the Arts Commission?
Correct. And Mr. Mayor, you kind of hit the nail right on the head. The easy one is, I'm an arts commissioner and I apply for a grant.
Yep.
Of course, you must remove yourself completely. Where it gets dicey is, yes, our office would have to get involved. And if that specific arts commissioner, let's say, participated in crafting the program or saying, hey, we should focus on, and I apologize, I'm not artistic myself, sculptures as compared to painting, something like that, that would potentially disqualify them because, you know, once you've already done it, you can't unring that bell or put the toothpaste back in the tube. So it really is a case by case analysis. Something that our office feels confident we can opine on. However, it's really up to the wisdom of the city council, whether or not you want to kind of, you know, effectuate something like that.
Further questions?
Okay, I mean, one approach would be to say it's a little bit of a transitional problem. One approach would be to say, just as when people apply, we just make it clear up front, right? If you're sitting on the Arts Commission, you're not eligible for grants because you're too integrated into the whole program.
Yeah.
We could do that. We could do that.
I think that's a fair approach.
I support that. I think that this is a small town and we want as many people involved in different community activities as we can. So I think it makes sense to draw the line where the line needs to be drawn. And for me, that is the Arts Commission.
And the city council, right?
And the city council.
Okay. Because we
Well,
appoint the
I don't know.
commissioners.
That some of those do come to us, or maybe those are just the
But don't you think
cultural arts grants and not the individual grants.
just the fact that we're appointing all the arts commissioners, if you know, if I applied, there might be some pressure to you know, give me the grant. if
Yeah,
they
I
wanna get
see.
reappointed. That would be the
To
direct.
apply the prohibition to us, yeah.
Yeah.
I get
I think legally we're not allowed anyways. I mean, it's an issue of ethics, but I think it's a legal issue as well.
Correct. And once again, my opinion, for what it's worth, you as the ultimate city decision makers, that any decision can really, you know, you can attempt to draw a line back to the arts program. So it would be my advice to prohibit any member of the city council from receiving any grant that, you know, even if it's not even if the grant does not come up to the city council, budgetary decisions, even hiring decisions, things like that. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
So then if we were to make a motion that would allow any applicant, any person serving on any appointed board, committee, or commission other than the city council and the arts commission would be eligible? I mean, that's what we're trying to do, right?
Any staff member who's not directly involved with the cultural arts department. So it's the second part of this, right?
Correct. As of
City
right now, it
employee.
applies to all city employees, but that is entirely up to the discretion of the city council where you want to draw that line for employees.
My whole watercolor career is flashing in front of my face.
Okay. So
So we would not disqualify an applicant if the applicant serves on an appointed board, committee, or commission other than the Arts Commission of the City Council, or if the applicant is a city employee who does not work on the cultural arts.
So like Pat couldn't apply because even though you don't work in the cultural arts department, you're involved in the cultural arts, you know, division,
That is correct, Mr. Mayor.
right? And so I think that's where we would draw the line.
Or
I can
enrolled.
assure you, I would not win unless Mr.
Yeah.
City Manager helped me.
Okay. Okay. And then maybe what we have is also, if someone's applying, could there be like a sign off by the city attorney's office before maybe that's a way to just put a check in place? What do you think about that, Megan?
Mr. Mayor, I think that's a good idea. If there's any question about a conflict, we can run it
So
down.
if somebody's applying who's, you know, if anytime anyone who's on a staff member who's not involved with the arts or a board and commission member who's not in the arts commission applies, they get a waiver from the city attorney's office,
Yeah, or a sign off.
a sign off either way. I think that's a good check.
So is somebody going to draft this up or are we trying to make a motion here, or is somebody going to draft what the policy is?
Yeah, I mean, so I think that the direction as given suffices. Once again, as of right now, the application simply just say, if you're a city employee or on a city board, you're ineligible to apply. That would change now to if you are on the Arts Commission or the City Council, you are ineligible to apply. Further, if you are a city employee involved or employed or supervised or in any way involved with the cultural arts program, you're ineligible to apply. Any city employee or city official must receive sign off or whatever from the city attorney's office in order to apply. Simple as that.
I mean, I don't think, it sounds like this not going to go this way, but well, how would it be any different? Like if I'm on the arts, I mean, I've been the liaison to the Arts Commission for like 7 years. We haven't had this issue come up at the arts, with arts commissioners, I don't think, right, Sean? No. But, wouldn't it be the same as if look, I'm an artist? We have some artists on the Arts Commission, some quite good ones. And let's say they wanted to apply for one. Would it be any different than saying, Megan, can you vet this arts commissioner to see if it would be okay?
Yeah, I mean, so in substance and kind of holistically, no, Madam Council Member, it probably wouldn't. It probably would be a bit more work in terms of having to recreate how that program, grant, or competition was created. Did the at-issue arts commissioner have his or her hand in it? It's a little bit easier. I'll pick on Director Mark McAvoy since he was just here. It's easy to say, hey, do you have any, do you have any purview? Do you have any, supervisory role over the program and any hand in it? No. But substantively, it is the same, albeit it would be probably more legwork, but still legwork.
But I think it creates a perception issue too, where it would give the idea that, it's just, a club that's giving themselves awards. And I think, recognition. And I think there's no reason why someone couldn't be on the Arts Commission for a few years, do their time and then leave the commission and go and apply for awards again. I think that's.
Yeah, and I think is just make it clear as people apply, those are the rules, right?
Yeah.
If you apply for a position on the Arts Commission, you're not going to be able to.
That's what we should be doing.
Yeah.
Okay. So does somebody want to make a motion?
I think we gave the direction, right?
Do you have clear direction, Mr. Assistant City Attorney?
I do, yes, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, so then I think we'll leave it at that. Good. So we'll have that come back to us on consent calendar.
Did you guys take a vote?
Wait, hang on. Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, unless you want to see the updated language, we can just affirm what your action is tonight. And
Okay.
we don't need to bring it back on consent, but we're happy to do that if you'd prefer to see the specific language.
Bob, up to you. Do you want to?
I don't think we need to do. No, I don't think we need to see it again.
Okay. Do you want to make a?
I'll make a motion based on what Pat said.
Is that okay?
Sure is, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. We have consensus then. I'll second the Mayor Pro Tem's motion. All in favor of that?
Aye.
Aye.
So that will go into effect. Okay. Do we need a break or are we good to go to our one regular item? Okay, let's do that.
Anne Marie, could you call up my item or
Okay.
scan in the back? This is, I think we're right at 19, right?
Yeah, so we're on item
Yeah.
19, summer 2025 operational wrap up and recommendations for 2026. I want to thank Mayor Pro Tem Orville and Councilmember Kempf who've been involved with this effort. And so Mr. City Manager, am I turning it over to you for a staff report?
Yeah, so no, this is my greatest fear is that I'm keeping you from adjourning early with one of my staff presentations, I ironically, for once in my, I really wish more people were here, but I think that Greg's here. But that sends Drake's here. That sends a signal to me that, I don't know, I don't want to read too much into it, but maybe we did a little bit better this year. So, fingers crossed. So I'm going to talk about this recap of summer 2025 and then looking forward to 2026. Next slide, please. And this won't take that long. And I'm going to talk about some stats and some of the different things we did, some anecdotal observations and looking to summer 2026. And that's where I'd like to involve the ad hoc committee and then welcome your discussion. Next slide, please. So this is a chance to give some kudos because I really do think that the departments I'm going to mention really worked really hard to do a great job this summer. And I think they did, starting with, in no particular order, the police department. Next slide, please. So these are the takeaways from me on these stats, which are in your staff report. We did have a big increase in calls for service over the last 2 years. Citations are way up. Parking citations are up in 2025, and that was a concerted effort. That didn't just happen. I know the chief and his leadership team focused on making that work and prioritizing especially parking, and then all the other activities there too. So thank you, police department. Next slide. Next is our lifeguards. Again, great job this year. Next slide. So this talks about some of the the trends there in rescues, medical aids, and when they advise someone as to if they're not obeying the ordinances, and then preventative actions. You see they do a lot of different actions. That 390, that 400,000 is a lot. So I didn't talk to Kai about this, but I think we did have a little bit less wave action in 2024. We didn't have the big crazy July 4th. The beaches may have been a bit quieter with cooler weather, and then maybe a little bit fewer folks traveling here from outside the United States. So you could see the trend was a little bit down in this, which is not a bad thing. In other words, people were still having a safe time at the beach. Next slide, please. Next, our kudos to the Public Works team. I put a big picture of Main Beach Park on there because they got it done in time for summer, and that was a big effort. So I really appreciate all the work that they did. Next slide, please. And this just kind of describes the strategy that we take for the public's edification. We do up our summer frequency of activities, from day porters to grooming to putting out the trash cans and cleaning and removing the trash cans, and downtown sidewalk pressure washing. So I do think we seem to have had fewer complaints in 2025 than in 2024, though certainly trash remains a problem. And I'll talk about that really briefly in just a second. So thank you to the Public Works team, especially the field group. Next slide. Lastly, the trolley. This is our community services and transit team. Next slide. This shows you kind of the trends in the trolley. You could see Summer Breeze, that's the Irvine to Laguna one, where you can park for free in Irvine and stay out of all Laguna traffic and parking by jumping on the Summer Breeze. That's gone up, which is great. The other ones, less so. The Canyon route stabilized, and then the coastal route really has fallen quite a bit. So, and I'd point out one of the things that Alexis always reminds me is that getting accurate counts is still really challenging. It's really tough to do when it's busy. There isn't an automatic clicker. It's the driver looking at it to figure out who is on his or her vehicle. But it's trended lower overall since 2019. Next slide. So anecdotally, maybe a quieter summer, but it was still busy. Not sure if it was cooler weather inland or a decline in international travel. Enforcement was definitely up. Calls for service were up. You saw that in the PD stats. And my takeaways are these are still a problem. Trash, not just on the beach, but especially in the neighborhoods. I know our trash collecting team from the council is aware of that. Parking, we continue to hear about people searching for spots, spending a lot of time, maybe not being ticketed enough. But again, the police department did a really great increase in work there. I continue to hear about impacts to the Rocky intertidal zones. I really appreciate Laguna Ocean Foundation's work there. Traffic overall remains a concern. And then a number of people always bring up restroom access in South Laguna. Next slide. So plan for 2026, and this is just when we're looking at as a staff. You folks as a council looked at parking rate changes. So parking will go up about 10%. There'll hopefully be more areas under paid parking, especially in South Laguna. We're looking at more tailored messaging. As folks know, we did a different strategy at Woods Cove, where we tried to make the signs pop a little bit more. So we may expand that next summer. We've talked with Public Works about doing more resources, more day porters for Aliso Beach and South Laguna, other South Laguna beaches. You mentioned in the staff report a different alignment for the park rangers that help them focus on homelessness too. We do see anecdotally an increase in homelessness during the summertime. I do want to try to do more docent hours for Laguna Ocean Foundation, and that's in part with something we're working out with the regional board. And then next year, the stewardship effort should be in full swing, so that's going to influence our decisions and our actions. Next slide, please. So other issues to consider, and then I'm going to end my talk. I think we should look at in the off season about changes to the trolley program and possibly even Laguna Local, make sure we're right sizing that. We need to look differently at our trash efforts, including maybe some cleanups in beach adjacent neighborhoods. So beach cleanups are great, but what about the neighborhoods where everyone's parking and dumping out their trash before they drive away? And like many, I hate fake rose petals. I've heard talk about maybe having different canopy regulations. Remember, our ordinance says 6 by 6 by 6 is the max, but everybody sells 10 by 10 by 10. So that's a challenging one to enforce because you're telling a family, hey, family that's needing the shade, hey, you got to scoot in your canopy. So maybe we either maybe got to rethink where canopies are allowed. Maybe just at the bigger beaches where there's a lot more sand. Folks have brought up hours of dry sand access. We can't regulate wet sand access, but we could look at dry sand. And then Heisler Park can get a little bit crazy. How can we help that stay more orderly? And then what else, other ideas that you might have? So I'll stop there and welcome your comments and discussion. And again, I just really wanted to thank the city staff for all the work that they put into this. It's much appreciated by me and I think much appreciated by the community.
Any questions from city council?
I have a quick question. So Dave, you and I have met countless times regarding all of this, and not once do I remember hearing dry sand. Can you explain that to me?
This is the concept that folks have raised whereby before we took over the South Laguna beaches, there may have been different limits on what the hours you could access the beach. And this is getting into difficult coastal commission territory because the people have a right to access the wet sand. But, and Megan can kick me if I'm going astray here, but that conversation about what curfews could exist, if any, or limitations on access to a beach late at night.
I have some questions for Public Works. You guys want to come up? Good evening. Hey, just a couple questions. If we were to put more restrooms in South Laguna, do you guys have an idea where we would put them? One thought I had was, I don't know when we're going to start work on the fire department, but maybe we have room to put, porta potties there or something.
So the fire station project does include 2 restrooms, and that starts construction here in a couple months.
Mm-hmm.
And so won't be open in time for next summer,
Right.
but would be the following summer. There's always opportunity to add portable restrooms at city parking lots. We can roll those out fairly easily, though depending on the neighborhood, we don't always get positive response from the neighbors because some want them, some do not. The other issue we generally have is that the restroom down at the bottom of Thousand Steps is a single stall. The county remodeled it to make it into a single stall, and I am looking with staff to see if there's a way to undo that and restore the 2 stalls, because I think that would address some of the bathroom issues we see and the queuing down at the bottom. So those are a couple things we're looking at doing.
Okay. What do you think about, I've been doing my trash collection every day since the end of June. And then I walk through Heisler a couple times a week. What do you think about, the picnic areas are always a disaster. I mean, people just are super irresponsible and not very respectful of those areas. Cigarette butts, they leave all their trash. There's a million trash cans in there, but they don't use them. And barbecuing, people smoking when they're barbecuing and stuff like that. Do you think it's, what do you think about taking out the barbecues? I mean, this would be a discussion for the community, but what do you think about removing those? Also, the park rangers told me people get in fights about the barbecues.
I think for staff, I don't think we have an official position on that. That's more of probably a council policy on whether we provide that. That's an amenity that we provide in that park. Not every park provides that amenity. Not every city provides that amenity. But those reports of people fighting, staff has seen that. And it is very difficult, especially during the summer and especially on weekends, for us to maintain the area and keep it clean.
Yeah.
A lot of ashes that cause issues, and folks do leave a lot of their trash behind, and it's hard to keep up.
Mm-hmm. How do you guys actually clean those? Sweep them out or something now?
Yes, public barbecues at our public parks are generally cleaned by staff weekly to, daily to empty out ashes, and then weekly to empty out the ash and coal receptacles that are usually located nearby. And of course, as you mentioned, not all the ash gets into the ash receptacle, and that over there at Heisler Park, where there is a concentrated amount of barbecues, you do see a lot of ash debris there.
Mhm. And then the other question about Heisler is, what do you think about all the trash that's on the hillside? You can't get at it. You can't get it from below and you can't get it from above. It's just in this, and no one can go over the fence there because it's not safe. But yeah, you look over, I mean, you have this beautiful park and you look towards the ocean, but if you look down for a second, you see debris everywhere. What do you have? I mean, you almost have to have someone rappel to get it. Seriously.
Which I don't want to officially say that we've done that, but we've safely removed from the slope on occasion. It's difficult. It's just very difficult to do that. We try to empty the trash cans often enough so that they are not full and there's a spot for folks to drop, but it seems to be a problem that we're ever chasing. We can't have enough trash cans and empty them fast enough. So we don't have a great solution for the issues along the bluffs all throughout town, especially at Heisler. And it's very frustrating, but we try to remove them from the slope safely.
Do they have trash pickers that have an extension arm on them? That's what we need.
I think they have them.
Yes. I don't know what's the longest we have.
I couldn't say with certainty, but I've seen our staff use something that extends their reach by about 15 feet at least, maybe 20.
Councilmember Kemp could use that one if it fits in her.
I can
car.
use it, man.
Yeah.
As long as it's telescoping, I don't have a truck or anything. And the other thing I was going to ask you was, so, and you guys, I put in tickets, you guys are really good at responding to your Ask Laguna tickets. I mean, really good. But like on the inland side of Aliso, as you go up from Aliso Beach up towards West Street on the inland side, there's a lot of trash over there. There's no sidewalk, so you can't get at it very easily, but it keeps it, if you stay on it, it doesn't accumulate, but it's starting to accumulate again. So I don't know if that's in your routine cleaning or what, but I think we should do it a little bit more often. I mean, this is what I'm noticing. Do you have Spectrum do it or, yeah?
Yes, so we have, it's not every day, but especially on the weekends, so Friday nights, Saturday nights, and Sunday, we have Spectrum crews that do litter picking, and that's one of the areas they cover. So we appreciate the feedback, and we'll make sure that gets special attention.
Also, do you guys, who works with the PTC? You guys? Or when we did our Woods Cove meeting, the residents there on Pearl Street, at the end of Pearl Street, right where it terminates into Ocean Vista, I guess it is, or whatever. They want golf cart parking there because there's not enough room for cars, but there might be enough room for golf cart parking. We could probably get 4, and that would make the residents really happy in that neighborhood. We could do that. It's on the north side of the street. You guys could go look at that.
Yeah, well, staff will take that suggestion back to
Okay.
PTC, but yes, one of our engineering staff is the liaison to the PTC.
An officer is raising his hand.
Not just any officer. You got to come to the front
You gotta
because
come
they
to
can't
the
hear you.
phone.
And actually, Officer Spratt, isn't that a location that is currently being considered? Yeah.
You want to
Go
go
to the mic.
Okay,
Just for
good.
every- okay,
Oh,
great.
in the process of going to PDC.
Fantastic.
Look at that.
Way to go.
Not sure which way it's going to go, but
Yeah.
they're already reviewing that.
Okay,
It can be appealed.
good.
Charge of all things parking and traffic there.
Okay.
Okay, that's it
Good.
for me.
Okay, other questions? I have a question, Mark. So, traffic is one of the big issues, and I feel like this summer in particular, what's driven me crazy, and I've gotten so many texts about it, is the synchronization of the lights on Coast Highway. And you and I had an email exchange about this. And, I'm just going to repeat what you told me in the email exchange, was that 10 years ago, Caltrans synchronized, but they haven't done anything since, and they are open to us applying for the OCTA Measure B synchronization in November.
Yeah, so working right now with Caltrans to see if we'll be able to make this year's call. A draft they have a call each year. A draft is due about a month ahead of time, which is next week. But to apply, you have to have a local signal synchronization plan that's been adopted for your city, and we submit that. Our plan is next updated next year, and the current version of the plan does not have that as a listed project. So working on trying to do something anyway, but we are actively discussing with Caltrans over the last several days, and
Okay.
I was working on an updated email to you. But it is something that that needs to be done. It does need to be updated. Caltrans is open for it, but we do need to work with Caltrans to define the scope, because sometimes it's just timing improvements, sometimes it's physical infrastructure improvements to the signals themselves. So we will define that scope with Caltrans. But the other thing I would mention is that several of the intersections, because of the paving project, have loops that aren't functioning. So some of the lights, and I get a lot of complaints about NICE specifically, are on recall. They're on a timing program. They aren't detecting correctly. That should be fixed here in about a month with
Okay.
the paving that starts next week.
But regardless, there could be a benefit beyond, so that could be improved just in the short term. But, you know, and I connect you with the Malibu Public Works
Yes.
Director, so maybe we could figure out what they're doing, and so I guess we would probably need to bring on a consultant to update our synchronization plan, and that would position us to apply next year.
Yes, we're currently talking to Mark Thomas. They
Okay.
have a lot of experience doing that. So that's who we've been talking to. We met with them earlier this afternoon
Okay.
at like 3 o'clock. And so I'll get an update tomorrow on if we're able to squeeze something in this year. It's unlikely, but we'll, I'll keep pressing. But we will apply for the next synchronization project. Caltrans previously had always told us we did synchronize our signals.
Yeah.
And, well, it's been long enough that it needs to be done
Totally.
again.
So, Dave, is there going to be an updated, because I know I don't want to, we have to see if there's if we want to put this in the CIP, we'd want to take something out. So will there be an opportunity for us to review our CIP projects soon?
Probably soon, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, like part of the mid-year budget.
So
Is that
that'll
what
be
you're saying?
coming up, right?
Yeah, I think we got it either next week or the week after that.
So
next
I would
week.
advocate for, because I think that could just have a big impact on residents' quality of life. So I would be willing to support prioritizing that and finding something to deprioritize so that we could put that plan together and then leverage those funds. And then my final question is, what's the status of the Main Beach Boardwalk?
So on the Main Beach Boardwalk, the status of the spot that's missing,
Yeah.
we are working with Laguna Construction under an emergency contract. They've ordered materials, and we're working on getting a start date from them, but it's imminent.
Okay, that's good to know. So it's in process.
Yes, it's in process, but I couldn't quote you a date today.
That-
I would
that was
I could
my
say
question.
started yesterday.
No,
but
it's okay. That
very
was the
soon.
question.
Follow up on that, and you've seen an email from me, Mark. I know the art museum contacted me. They have their Art in Nature November, I think the 9th is the big one, but I think it runs kind of like from the 5th to the 9th. Do you think we'll have it done by then?
Say yes, Reza.
We're hopeful. We think we're trying everything to make that date, to make the repairs and open the boardwalk by that date.
Appreciate that.
How
And
big
I'll
would
just,
you-
I'll
oh,
just,
sorry.
I'll just, I'm sorry, Dave.
Sorry.
I'll just use this opportunity to reiterate again a point I brought up before. And it, we've talked about trip and falls and trying to reduce liability. We need to replace that boardwalk. It needs to be replaced from one end to the other end. It's just like up and down. I see people tripping all the time. We need to prioritize that. So if we're going to be looking at prioritizing stuff in CIP and we want to be smart about it, we should. I know it's $1.2 million was the last bid. It's a lot of money, but you get one trip and fall
Yeah,
or two,
and that's-
you're out good chunk of that money. So anyway, that's my pitch on that.
Well, and I'm supportive of your previous suggestion was to leverage some of those, the tourism marketing district dollars for that.
Possibly. I guess that's
Yeah.
coming back to us right on a different agenda item or another agenda item. Yeah.
Because I think that's a good idea. Okay, other questions? No.
I did have, and I know that Alexis is sort of pinch hitting on, not pinch hitting, but this used to be Michael's, but we used to get a lot more information on occupancy rates for various parking lots, like how much was the hospital used and how much was Act 5 used, and are we able to get some of, no, we don't need it tonight, but are we able to get some of that data this year?
Good evening, Council. Alexis Braun, Acting Director of Community Services and Transit, and I'm happy to provide that information for you. I can send you a report with the summer rates I can pull a report from Memorial Day to Labor Day if you like. and send that over. I don't know if you want to include it in a future council agenda or just send it to you guys.
Well, we could just get the information, I think, but I think we usually cover, the LCAD lot and the Act 5 lot, and then all the various lots, right? I don't know how many you had, the hospital one in particular we used to look at, because we were always trying to get the occupancy
Get
rate
the-
up
up
there,
for the
higher, so
trolley
whatever
right there.
lots you can do would be helpful, yeah.
Yes, we have sensors in the majority of them, so I can pull those numbers for you.
Do we know why Summer Breeze was up so much?
We expanded it to Thursdays. It wasn't this was the first year we'd ever had Summer Breeze on Thursday evening, or Thursdays. And so that was an extra day than we had from the previous summers. And these numbers were just through the end of August. We haven't finalized all the September numbers yet. So it should, overall, every number will be a little bit higher, but by adding the extra day, and it also started Memorial Day weekend. And usually the past couple of years, it had started when the festival started. So it's had about 3 extra weekends.
Do we collect any data on the folks that take that, where they come from, I guess what I'm getting at is I'm curious if the folks that are going to the Great Park are utilizing it at all.
You mean coming from the Great Park to
Yeah, just
Laguna?
somehow taking.
Yeah, there are a lot of Irvine residents that do take that.
Alexis, I know we could, but probably haven't, like geofence or track where their phones move. Like there's entities that do that, because I know if Jeremy were here, he'd tell us about different activities. So,
The
yeah.
Placer AI is a new.
Is a Placer, yeah.
It's probably a Placer AI. It's a new product that does geofence
Yeah.
specific areas, so we can geofence that parking lot.
Yeah, I think it would be worthwhile. I'm interested in just keeping track of what's happening at the Great Park, and, how many of those folks are coming down here after they've done whatever they're doing up there. Yeah, and finding just transportation solutions to accommodate it. Thank you.
Kind of on that line, I wonder, the comment was made earlier about trying to it's difficult to count the number of people on a trolley. Isn't there a way we could just do that electronically? I mean, same thing. I mean,
We have an RFP out, so by next summer, we are getting automatic passenger counts. So
good, great.
Okay. Further questions from the council? I don't see. Let's send it to the public for public comment on this item. So please line up if you'd like to speak.
Such civility at council tonight. Thank you.
Well, I've known him since he was 3, so thank you. Hi, my name is Whitney Aronoff, and I wanted to speak about something that Councilmember Kemp brought up, and I am a chef in town. I've always wanted to grill at Heisler Park, but because of my job, I don't have the ability to go and camp out there all day in order to be able to grill later in the evening. So my dream as a resident in town has always been to have the opportunity to reserve the space online. I'd be happy to pay a fee in order to use the public space in my town, but I just don't have the time or capacity in my day to have to camp there at sunrise in order to be able to use the space in the evening. So I would love for you guys to consider that as an opportunity if you decide to keep that space available. And I do want to speak up also just on one item you guys are considering, and that's expanding and offering people the opportunity to bring larger tents to Laguna. One thing I found just really sad and disappointing as I walked through my community this summer was how we're turning into tent city. And I think whether you're a resident or an artist, one thing that everyone has always loved is that view of downtown Laguna and all the beautiful umbrellas. And we live in a community filled with incredible stores and surf shops that sell plenty of umbrellas if you seek shade. And if we continue to expand the amount of tents and the sizing of tents for people who are coming to enjoy Laguna for the day, I feel like we're opening up to more and more issues. As a walker in the morning, in the summer times, there's more and more homeless sleeping on the beach. And I personally, at sunrise when I'm walking on my community beach. I've always felt safe. In the summer, I really didn't. And I talked to a lot of cops in town on May Beach when I'd be standing at a corner waiting to cross the street and there'd be a homeless man having, a personal meltdown. Or I'd be walking the beach and there'd be people sleeping everywhere. When we expand the size of tents, we're going to have more and more people that are bringing their living room for the day. And they're welcome to come and enjoy Laguna as they like, but I just feel like we're continuing to open up more and more issues for the rest of us down the line. So again, we have incredible shade opportunities sold at all of our surf shops in town. I don't think larger tents are an option or should be the option. And I hope that we can find other ways to make it easier for the community to use our public spaces. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
You want to clarify that, Dave?
No, let's just, we'll wait till, let's let him speak.
Have a trash bag. Okay, first off, thank you guys. Major increases all across the city, I noticed, and it was a lot of positive feedback from the community. There's a few things that I would say that I've heard from other residents is like maybe increase the beach patrol like ×4. That's something that a lot of people have been saying, to really write tickets and not give warnings, because I think that's what a lot of people are becoming more and more aware, and through social media and whatever, people are communicating, hey, you're not going to get a ticket for drinking. They'll give you a warning. But they were giving tickets, and I did see Beach Patrol giving tickets. And I commend the police officers and the Beach Patrol. I saw them giving lots of tickets. But I think it's more of like, hey, we're not messing around, show of force, which, does help fix that problem. And then what else am I going to say? Regarding the synchronization of the lights, just a question to staff. Would it be different in the summer, like during peak season, than in the off season? That's just a question that I was thinking while they were mentioning that. And then also the restroom at the bottom of 1,000 steps. Yeah, that would put in 2 down there, maybe 3 or whatever, however they could do to fix that line, that queue would definitely help for sure. And I did notice, like Sue was saying, the trash on the inland side of PCH throughout all of South Laguna, all the way down to Three Arch Bay, along that curb that doesn't have a sidewalk. There's so much trash that gets piled that people leave, that put, they leave it out of their car and they leave. And then my other recommendation, and I don't know if, Megan, if this is something that you could work on, is to amend the actual municipal code for the canopies. And maybe instead of saying 10 by 10, 6 by 6, why don't see if there's a way to say no structures with 4 posts without a permit or something. Like, for example, there was a big photo shoot, recently down at Aliso, and they had multiple 10 by 10 canopies. And I was like, well, but obviously they were permitted. They had permits to do that photo shoot. It was a big, deal. And I was thinking, I'm like, why don't they just say, we don't allow, 4 posted shade objects in our town. And that would, make people lean towards more of the umbrella type shade. So you're not taking away shade, and you're saying, hey, you can't use a 10 by 10. And then to prevent, or if I know you're saying, Dave, how you're taking shade away from like a family or stuff, but to implement that, say, hey, you can't do this before they put it up. And I know that's hard especially when it's crowded, but just some ideas. So, but thank you overall. I appreciate it. You guys are working hard. So thank you.
Thank you. Further speakers on this item? I don't see any, so let's bring it back to the council, and I'll start with some questions raised by the audience. So by this public speaker, so to the point Mayor Pro Tem was making, Dave, as I read your recommendation with respect to canopies, your recommendation is not just to increase it. You're suggesting that potentially we would, allow them in canopies only in some places and then just have umbrellas elsewhere. Is that right?
I think the larger recommendation is we should look at this more thoughtfully.
Yeah.
And should it be limited to certain beaches? To Greg's point, to your point, should we not have them at all? I mean, I think that's a conversation we would want to bring back to you if you think so. If we all agree that that's a concern. My concern is just people bring the wrong size here, and it's challenging to tell a group that, hey, you brought the wrong canopy or scooted in by to make it scrunch up.
Well, and just from a public safety standpoint, I mean, lifeguards really have such a hard job.
Yeah.
They have to do like 3 different things at the same time, monitor what's going on land, in the water. And it's just, there's so many things going on that anything that is adding to their blockage, I think makes their job harder and potentially endangers lives. So I think there's something that I think this is something that we should look at and make sure that, if we were to, it would be really nice if we just had all umbrellas, if we could make a public safety related justification for that, which I think we could probably do. So it sounds like maybe you'll bring something like that.
Yeah,
back
I'd
to
probably
us.
obviously confer with Kai and.
Yeah, and confer with the ad hoc committee and.
Chief Bond and Chief Calvert on this one.
Okay, and then to the synchronization question, I mean, my understanding of synchronization, Dave, I don't think we need Public Works, but like in an ideal synchronization is where it adjusts to the conditions. Right?
Exactly.
So it wouldn't be synchronized if you're applying what it's like during the summer to the non-summer months because traffic would slow down.
To my understanding, that a really advanced system, Mark could nod shake her head. A really advanced system would allow that to happen on the fly, but versus you have to go out every season and change it by signal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Adaptive based on okay, good. Further questions from council?
I don't have questions, but I do have some comments.
Go ahead.
I think plastic rose petals, I think, really getting towards like a leave no trace ethic and incorporating that not only into all of our stewardship messaging, but also in all the permits that we issue, right? Whether it is a plastic rose petal or an orange peel or a actual rose petal, though I always want to know the stories about who throws their roses in the bushes. I just picture the fight happening walking down through Heisler Park. I think we should really look at those leave no trace principles. I also really appreciate everything that staff has done. I know it's been a huge focus of not only the ad hoc committee and the people on the council, but also city staff, from you, Dave, all the way down to the people cleaning up trash on the streets and our amazing public safety officers. So thank you. And my last point, it goes back to something that Greg was saying, and it's really about enforcement and really cracking down on drinking on the beach. I have seen so much of that over the last several years. And I think we just need to develop a reputation as a community that has a zero tolerance policy for that.
Well
I will
said.
point out, Hallie, that I think we have 50 restaurants now that have committed to no plastics, eliminating plastics, and nearly all the hotels, I think, have now committed to eliminating plastics from their practice.
It's great.
I just had a couple comments as well. And then, first of all, thanks to the ad hoc committee. I know you guys worked really hard on this, and I think it was effective. I mean, I think Dave's comment early on, and the lack of a crowd here, and even Greg giving us some props. I mean, we must be doing something right. But a couple of thoughts. One is, and I do think we need to focus on the restroom issue in South Laguna. It's in the report, I know, and I think it's more than just fixing Thousand Steps Beach. We got to find a couple other locations. We had some emails that came in about, the West Street area in particular. So I'd like to see us do that. I don't think the fire station site will work for next summer because it'll be a construction zone. I thought, Mark, you noted that we had the uptick, I guess, because of the additional day with summer breeze, but that's good. I mean, it doesn't matter which day of the week, it's still less traffic in town. I wondered if we could approach, or we should think about approaching like Laguna Hills or Aliso Viejo or some, one of those communities, because they could come down El Toro and sort of do the same route in that the summer breeze does in. And, if you got another 15 or 20,000 people using that, it's fewer people in town. I guess we get funding from the county for some of the summer breeze, is that right? But we're used to anyway. So it may be a financial issue, but might be worth exploring. I did, the recommendation in here regarding, again, we had some input from the public about this. I do get a little concerned about the park, spreading the park rangers too thin. I didn't quite understand the nature of the recommendation in here. I understood it, but I didn't really see how it was going to, on the ground, be implemented. about directing them more to the homeless. So maybe we'd need a little more detail on either the chief's thoughts or city manager's thoughts on how that's going to be implemented. I like the idea of allowing, maybe not for all of the barbecues. I like keeping the barbecues, by the way. I mean, there's so many things you can't do in Laguna. I don't want to add one more thing that you can't do, but I do like the idea of having some ability to reserve maybe some of the locations, for residents, maybe give them a head start of a couple hours to sign up. And so I think that would be something that would be worth doing. And I would just say overall, I know I've pinged Reza a couple times, and the department is so responsive to, as you say, Sue, the Ask Laguna, but also just, input from the public and jumping on stuff right away. So thank you guys. Great job.
I don't know if this is a part of your concern with the Rangers, Bob, but we have been discussing, so we've implemented some experimental signage this year, and we're talking about expanding that and, different messaging and whatnot having to do with signage. And there has been discussions, and for the lack of a better description, at this time I'll use the word docent, where volunteer docents would be at each beach access point, like before you go down the stairs, drawing attention to the signage. And, if they saw somebody coming down with a cooler or a barbecue that's not allowed, or reminding families with children that there was no restrooms on that particular beach. So stay tuned. We'll let you know how that evolves.
Yeah, I'm just going to tick through. So we've got this list of possible muni code and other changes. So on parking enforcement, I think the police department did a much better job, good job this year on parking enforcement. But it would be great if we could, put that on the ballot next year or take parts of a general law city and put it on the ballot so we could actually contract for parking people. We can't do it now because we're not a general law, because we're not a charter city. It's the opposite. Yeah, we're not a charter city, so we can't do that legally, which is really frustrating to us. We have to have people on the payroll for that. So if we could do that, that'd be really helpful. And plus I'm sure we could cover our cost plus. On the signage, as Mark mentioned, we had these like sandwich board signs, and I think they were helpful. We got them out really quick, and you guys did a really good job getting them out. I don't know. I don't know if we try to do them in a more artful way so they're more eye-catching, because they're very and there's like this, they're supposed to be like, attention, here's all the fines. I just want to make sure people see them. So we'd have to take down our old brown ones, right? We put up new ones. Those old brown ones, no one looks at anymore.
I think that's a good idea for the more art-oriented ones, but the thought of these would, we plop them down there on June 15th and we take away on September 15th. So they're something new that's not intimidating, but something new that people have awareness of.
Yeah, I think the comment about Heisler too. So I want you guys to go look at it, because these barbecues, because there's a couple that are like one right under a tree, which is so stupid. I mean, if you get a good flame, like you're going to get the tree on fire. There's a couple of them like that. I walked by one day and I was like, you got to be kidding me with that. But what we could do is we could have I don't know how we could administer, because I don't know if it'd be a big headache, but we could have a reservation system that includes, you have to clean up when you leave. Maybe you put a small deposit down with the city or whatever, and you have to leave it the way you found it. Because I'm telling you, you guys aren't down there, but they just trash those areas. It's disgusting, really. People are just not at all respectful. On the canopies, my preference would be to get rid of the canopies, period. Because not only, as you mentioned, it's hard to see, but the other thing is I've had families on the beach tell me that they can't see their kids when they're in the water because of the canopies. So I don't know what Kai thinks about that, but my own personal, and having gone with the park rangers, it's a pain in the neck for them too, because they have to have them shrink down. Nobody wants to do it. Then someone says, well, I have a special needs kid, or I have this or that, and I have extenuating circumstances. I can't do it. So I don't know. I'm not a fan of these canopies at all. We didn't used to have them. I don't know why we need to have them. So that's just my opinion.
Could we take a quick sidebar? I know Kai or Jeff, if your Chief Calvert, Chief Bond, if you end up feel like commenting at all. I don't want to speak on your behalf. You guys know this so much better than I do. I don't know, the canopy call, right?
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. I think your comments are correct. The primary concern that we have from the marine safety side is it is a field of view issue. A lot of times, and this does include umbrellas, so I don't want to discount that, but the bigger the object that is in front of you, it's very difficult for us to see parts of the beach and, more importantly, the water. So it becomes a very difficult thing for us to do as far as just monitoring the public safety from the marine safety side.
Just adding on to that, the park rangers, as you know, spend a lot of time on the beaches getting voluntary compliance for people to compress their 10 by 10 canopies down to 6 by 6. They spend a lot of time doing that. They seek voluntary compliance, which 100% of the time they achieve, but that doesn't mean when they walk away that the family's not expanding them again. So I know the lifeguards are a good partner in helping mitigate that. But like Kai said, the idea behind the ordinance was to give line of sight to the lifeguards.
Okay.
So do you want, should we see if there's?
Thanks for that.
I'm supportive of everything that you just went
We'll have a
through.
few more.
But you wanted to take them at a, like, or do you want to do?
You want to
so-
take one at a time?
Yeah, let's just
Yeah,
do that.
okay,
So,
okay.
so you mentioned first I think the parking enforcement, looking at Charter City, I'm supportive of that approach. Anyone disagree with that approach? No? Okay. And then next was signage.
Signage, yeah.
I think probably everyone's in agreement about looking at more creative ways to, achieve the goal of signage. Okay, good. And then canopies,
Kelly mentioned the rose petals, and I think, they ought to be told when they get a permit that they can't have the rose petal.
Alexis, was it you that you were reminding me that that's part of the permit to not have live rose petals either? Live or fake,
Good.
so it's in the permit now, but these are activities that are either not permitted or they don't pay attention. Okay. I don't know what we can do more there. It's litter anyway.
Yeah,
Maybe
just
we just
look
look on an education campaign.
yeah, creative approaches to deal
Yeah,
with that.
okay.
Canopies too, it sounded like your recommendation was to look at, from a public safety perspective, a potential prohibition on canopies due to the, impact on, our public safety officials' ability to do their jobs.
Yep.
Kelly?
I'm not sure if this is a real concern or not, but I'm going to bring it up anyways. My only hesitation around prohibiting canopies is one of equity and understanding that not every family is able to, invest the however much a beach umbrella costs. And I guess I'm going to put you on the spot, Dave, and ask you if that's a concern for you. I think that there are some places that rent beach umbrellas in town, so that's a low-cost option for families who are looking for that kind of shade. Am I making an issue where there doesn't need to be one?
Well,
Hold on.
Don't,
Hold on.
please
We're not going to do any.
no, I think your point is an interesting one. And that, let's say somebody they use their canopy for their soccer team and their whatever their kids go to, soccer or softball or baseball. And then, yeah, it's the canopy in the garage. So yeah, I'm going to take it to the beach too. And I don't have a net increase in cost. So that's an interesting issue.
I can appreciate that perspective, but I think at the same time, from we want to make sure that our lifeguards are able to, save people. And a lot of times it's the people who are there saving that they're not locals who know how to swim in the water here, but it's the people who are, maybe coming from inland. And so I think my counter argument would be that to preserve, their equity and their access to a safe beach, that, the canopies. So I think we'd want to be very careful in how we construct any ordinance so that we're focused on, the public safety implications from that.
I think that
But
makes a lot of
I appreciate what
sense.
you're saying.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so is there consensus on the canopies? And bring something back? Okay, so keep going.
Yeah, this is just somebody made a comment about having more, I think it was Greg made a comment about having more park rangers. We can't afford it for park rangers. We have 10 as it is, right? So I walked with them. They did a pretty good job. I want to talk a little bit about trash for a second, and that is couple things. One is, so Visit Laguna is going to come forward with a program for trash awareness, and we're going to be bringing that forward at some point. Mark and I've seen the kind of draft proposal, and I think Dave has as well. So we have some good ideas. We'll be bringing that forward. But one thing I do note is, and we need to put this into our plan is, Public Works cannot cover the entire town. It's impossible. And what happens is all those streets proximate to Coast Highway is where all the trash is. So like, if you walk through South Laguna on a Monday and you have to go back through there like on a Thursday, you have to keep at it. And Public Works isn't going to go up and down all the residential streets and you only have to go up a block or two. So I think we need to get and people do this, is get some people, residents in certain areas to kind of help out if they're willing to do it. I see people picking up here and there, particularly on the beaches. And sometimes I see people in Heisler, but I think we need to make a more effort, because if you don't tackle it, then the residents start to say like, oh, we have so much trash. It's because it's accumulated, rather than if you just kind of try to manage it as best you can. It's really the worst in July. Also, I noticed too, is that when you're around construction sites, there's a lot of trash around construction sites. There's a lot of smoking around construction sites. So I think maybe we just need to tell the contractors when they come in, or whether applicants, they can't smoke there, and don't throw your trash on the street, which is what they're doing. I see that on West Street all the time, that construction site. And then I wanted to talk just for a second about we have a comment about, should we look at different hours for the beaches? And this is a coastal commission issue, but we have to work through with the city attorney. But one thing I think would be helpful is, because there's all kinds of shenanigans that go on the beaches at night, and I know Jeff knows this, but I think it would be helpful if we could limit the hours on some of the cove beaches, because for one thing, those are beaches in the best of circumstances are difficult swimming beaches, and you get people down there at night drinking, stuff like that. If we could fly the drones over the beaches and look for people, then the police department wouldn't have to wait for someone to complain, maybe just proactively fly the thing down the beach and see, who's on the beach. If there's people on the beach after a certain period of time, 10 o'clock or something, maybe just go down and tell them to get off the beach. Or if there are people sleeping on the beach, maybe you could detect that as well. I don't know. I'm not a police expert, but I'm just looking for ways that we could, in a cost-effective way and a way that we could kind of get at the problem, if we could use the drones for some limited policing. I don't know what you think about that, Jeff.
Great idea.
Okay.
So Newport Beach is actually challenged with this problem as well. They've asked me to come actually give a presentation to a few of their city council members, where officers or residents are complaining about people being on the beach in the evening. Officers go down, they clear the beach, but shortly after it's cleared, they come back. And so it's a drain on police resources. Where they're looking to us is that we do have curfews on certain beaches, and that we actually have private security at a much cheaper price, monitoring those beaches throughout the evening on a consistent basis.
Okay, those are my comments.
Okay, good, thank you. Further comments or feedback to staff? I think you have clear direction.
I feel like it, yes.
Okay,
Thanks.
good. Well, appreciate all the great work that's been done, and we always want to be it's a very hard problem to deal with, and so we can always do better. But at the same time, I appreciate all the hard work that's been done to show that we're making an effort and showing progress on these complicated issues. So it sounds like I don't think you need a motion, you got feedback. So we'll finish that item, and then we will, before we adjourn for Elizabeth Pearson, I'll see if there are any council members who have future agenda items that they would like to put forward.
I just have one, and I would like to have an ad hoc committee with Mark Orgill and I on the economic development plan in implementation.
Okay, I'll second that. I thought we don't have that now.
We don't have
but
that.
I would support that.
Yeah.
Is there a third?
I support that.
Okay, so we have 3. That's what we need for you guys to do. So that'll have to come back, the ad hoc committee, and then maybe you guys can work on defining the scope.
We will.
As well. So that sounds good. Anything else? No? Okay, so we'll adjourn the Laguna Beach City Council meeting until our next regularly scheduled meeting, which is October 28th at 5 p.m. So thank you, everyone. Good meeting. We did it a little bit over 2 hours. So good. Okay, thanks.